Hello, everybody. This is Mr. Tam back with another episode of Secondary 4 CST and Science Option Math. Today's topic, we're going to continue from last time when we talked about right angle triangles and trig. But now we run into a dilemma when we do not have a right angle triangle. And this is where the sine law comes in. And first, I'm going to draw you guys a nice non-90 degree angle triangle. So I have, let's say, a triangle that looks like this. Let's extend it a little bit like this and like that. And you have A, B, and C. C across from it, A across from A, and B across from B. And we do this because whenever we label angles, we use capital letters to label the angles, and to label the sides, to make it easy for ourselves, we use a small case, but we label, let's say, for example, side A across from A. It makes it much easier to track, and it's paramount, especially in this particular scenario when we're talking about sine law. So you'll notice that in this triangle that I've drawn out for you, there are no right angles in it. Nowhere does it indicate that little square in the corner that says it's 90 degrees. So we have to presume none of them are. And what do we do in that scenario? We can't technically label a hypotenuse or well, we can label a hypotenuse. In this case, the longest side. We can't label anything else like an opposite or an adjacent. So this is what we do. We're going to use a ratio or proportion to figure the sides or angles out. And the proportion is as follows. A divided by sine of angle A is equal to side B divided by sine of angle B, which is equal to little c divided by sine of capital C. Wonderful, easy peasy. So let's put this into practice to see if we can figure out one of the sides. So that's what we'll start with. So what I have here, let's see. I'm going to have you guys with a triangle that looks something like this and something like this and like that. Let's say it's not going to be drawn perfectly, but we will do our absolute best. So in this scenario, I'm going to be giving you two angles and a side that is missing. So let's start with that. So I'm going to have my side here, my angle here is 103 degrees. I'm going to have here sine of the side across from it being 10. Side here, that's 7. And this angle right here will be 43. So I've given you basically all the information you need. So let's take away one of the pieces of information. So let's propose that we take away the 7 here and see what happens if I am missing that 7 that I wrote for you guys anyways. So what if I'm given an x here that I don't know about? Well, first we're going to label some letters. We're going to call this angle B. So therefore, this side is B. And we're going to call this angle A, meaning that this side is little a. So we're going to use the proportion that we set up earlier. Sine A over sine A is equal to B over sine of B. A in this case is 10. Sine of the angle across from 10 is the one that we want underneath the side A. And for B, we have an unknown side B, or x, divided by sine of 43 degrees. So this is just a very simple setup of cross multiplication. So if I were to cross multiply this, what I end up with is 10 times sine of 43, and that's equal to sine 103 times B. So to get B alone, I have to isolate by dividing both sides by sine of 103. This is different from what we're used to doing when you're looking for an angle and you have to do sine from -1. This is not the case. Sine 103 actually gives you a number. So what I have here is 10 times sine 43, which I'm going to punch into my calculator and figure out. 10 sine of 43 times 10 gives me a number, 6.81, and I'm just going to divide this by sine of 103. And that gives me 6.99999. So these two cancel each other out. I'm left with b on this side, and let's just round it. We're going to make it easy for ourselves. My missing side there is 7. So that's how you go about finding a missing side given two angles and one of the sides across from those angles. What happens if I'm looking for an angle? And this, I'll take an opportunity to also teach you guys what happens when we're dealing with what we call an obtuse angle, an angle that is larger than 90 degrees. What do we have to do? What extra steps do we have to take? So I'm essentially going to draw the same triangle and show you how to go solve that same triangle, but we're going to be missing a different amount. So I'm going to redraw that triangle I had earlier where I had an obtuse angle. And this time my obtuse angle will be my missing amount. So here I'll have x, here I'll have 10, here I'll have 43, and across from here it'll be b, here will be a, and this will be little a. And this right here will be 7, which is the side given across from 43. So that being said, I'm going to set it up the same way as I had before. A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. And A is 10. Sine of A is unknown, so this is I'm just going to leave it as sine capital A. B is 7. And this is, of course, divided by sine of 43. So here I go. I'm going to punch in sine of 43 times 10. And this is equal to 7 times sine of A. So essentially what I'm looking to do is divide both sides by 7. So sine of 43 times 10 divided by 7 gives me 0.974. Now, this is a throwback to what we learned earlier about solving for angles. You essentially have to do sine of -1 on your calculator. Usually it's second function sine of 0.974. I'm going to give you guys a moment to punch that into your calculators to do that. And if I were to do that myself here, sine the -1 of my answer, I end up with approximately, wow, this is really weird, 77 degrees. But sir, that angle X looks like it's greater than 90 degrees. How could my answer be 77 degrees? Well, what's important to remember is that you're dealing with what we call an obtuse angle, and that there's an additional step that one has to do to be able to find this. So I'm going to write it off to the side here for you guys. Obtuse angle is basically taking 180 degrees from the triangle and subtracting it from your answer. So if your answer happens to be 77, we're now going to subtract 77 from the 180, and we end up with our answer, hey, that looks really familiar, of 103 degrees. So this is how we apply sine law to any triangle that does not have a 90-degree angle with it. So I hope this, guys, has really helped you out. Stay safe, keep your family safe, and I will see all of you in the next episode. Au revoir. Arrivederci. Bye-bye.